Hey there, this is Amelia here. Welcome to Amelia's crossdressing story. Today we are going to share a story called Trip to Paris Part 8 by Teddy. For more interesting and exclusive stories, please subscribe to my channel and support me at Patreon. They headed to the bedroom. Jason got out the white satin bra, the waist cincher, the thong, and the nylons. He undressed and began with the bra, the thong, then slipped on a pair of the nylons, followed by the waist cincher. Then he carefully fastened the garter tabs to the nylons. "You're learning," Ronnie said with a smile. "Stand up, and I'll tighten the cincher." She was a little kinder to him this time and didn't tighten the cincher as tightly as she could have. But she did give him a waist. She really loved the way his butt stuck out below the cincher and gave it a little pat. First was the black dress. She helped him zip it up. And he did his best to walk like a model, and they both had a laugh. She looked closely and said, "A pair of black heels, black nylons, and some jewelry, and that will be super sharp." Next, he tried on a short, tight maroon skirt that hit him mid-thigh. It was a little tight around the waist, but otherwise it also looked sharp. The other two skirts also fit well and looked nice. Ronnie had made some good choices. Of the 4 blouses, only one didn't fit right. The one he liked the best was a bright print with scarf sleeves and was low-cut. And it looked good with any of the skirts. Again, Ronnie had done a good job in choosing things. "What are you going to wear tonight, lover?" Ronnie asked. "You want me to dress tonight?" "Why not? You enjoy it. You're comfortable that way." "Well, maybe the maroon skirt and the scarf-sleeved blouse." "What do you think?" "That'll be sharp. Might have to tighten the cincher a bit to make the skirt fit right." Jason took off the skirt and blouse, turned his back to Ronnie, and said, "Tighten away." With a little smile, she tightened the cincher a little. Since the skirt had almost fit the first time, she didn't want to overdo it. When she was done, she again patted his butt and said, "I just love your sexy little butt." Jason slipped the skirt back on, zipped up the back zipper, put on the blouse, and asked, "Well?" "Nice. Very nice. Try the slides, and let's see if that works." He slipped his feet into the slides, and it helped make a very nice-looking outfit. They went back into the living room, he poured them each a glass of wine, and they sat together on the couch. She asked, "How do you feel?" "The cincher is tight, but not bad." "Everything else feels great." "No, silly. Inside." "How do you feel inside?" "Sort of comfortable. Relaxed. Kind of feminine." She smiled a little and said, "I can tell. It's the first time I've ever seen you sit with your legs tucked under you like that." "Like this?" "Yeah. Girls sit that way." "Oh." They sat, cuddled, and talked for some time. It was well after midnight when they headed for bed. And, again, after she helped him undress, their sexual activity was more intense than usual, and it was almost 1:30 when they finally got to sleep. Another week of classes came and went, and on Friday afternoon they were sitting, cuddled together, in the living room, relaxing, and Ronnie said, "I got you something today." "What now?" Jason asked with a smile. "I'll show you later." "Oh, come on. That's not fair." "No. Later." They started play wrestling. Then he started tickling her. "No fair. No fair," she screamed. "Show me." "Later. Later." "No." "All right. Stop. Stop. Please stop." "Are you going to show me?" "Yes. Just no more tickling. Please." He got up, offered her his hand, and helped her up. She led him to their bedroom, and he said, "Well? Look in your underwear drawer." He walked over, pulled open his underwear drawer, looked in it, and then at her. "The 2 boxes," she said. He took the boxes out and looked at them. "I saw you looking at them at the thrift shop," she said, "and I went back and got them for you." He opened one of the boxes, and it contained a breast form. He looked at her again. She said, "I thought that they would be better than socks or nylons." He just looked at her some more. "Are you mad?" she asked. "Come over here and sit with me," he said, as he walked over to the bed, sat, and patted his lap, indicating to her to sit there. She walked over, sat on his lap, he wrapped his arms around her waist, and asked, "Where is this really going?" "What? You keep buying me girl stuff. You don't like it?" "That's not what I said. I just want to know where this is going with us." "Where do you want it to go?" "Stop answering my questions with another question." "Sorry." "Well, I'd like it to go where you want it to go. I'm having fun, and I hope you are." "So, you're having fun, buying things, and seeing me dress up?" "Yeah. It's fun. Like I've said, it's like having a girlfriend, and having to teach her everything about being a girl. Are you going to get tired of this after a while? You know it's not going to go away. And, the more I do this, the more I like it. I know it's not going away. And, no, I won't get tired of it. I love you, and I love this part of you. Do you want me to be a girl full-time?" "No. I need Jason too." "You don't want to be a girl full-time. Do you?" "No. I like being able to be who I need to be." Over the next few weeks, Jason dressed off and on. He was beginning to feel comfortable around Ronnie when he was dressed, and it felt good. Ronnie also liked it when Jason dressed. There was something different about him. And neither of them could complain about the sex that usually occurred afterwards. Then one day out of the blue, as they were cleaning up after dinner, Jason said, "What if I wanted to take the feminine part of me further?" Jason had said, "What if I wanted to take this part of me further?" A little worried, Ronnie asked, "Like what?" "Well, some of the things that you've said, and we've done, have gotten me thinking," Jason said. "Oh," Ronnie replied. "Yeah," Jason continued. "Like what?" "Already?" Ronnie asked. With a very serious look on his face, Jason said, "Oh. Like maybe. I'd like to try living as a girl." "What?" Ronnie exclaimed. "Yeah. I think it just might be fun," Jason replied. "You're kidding. Aren't you?" Ronnie asked, disbelief in her voice. Not being able to stifle a big grin, Jason said, "You know I'm kidding. I like me too much." "You'd better be kidding," Ronnie said, her tone still a bit tense. "But, you did get me thinking about something," Jason said, changing the subject. "What?" Ronnie asked. "You've mentioned makeup and wigs a couple of times. I think I'd like to see what I look like with a complete makeover," Jason suggested. "Really?" Ronnie exclaimed. "We've never done makeup, and I'd like to try it. Do you have a problem with it?" Jason asked. "No. In fact, it might be fun," Ronnie replied. Jason looked at her for a couple of seconds, shook his head, and said, "You are crazy. Aren't you? You know it, lover. Crazy for you. What do you want to do?" Ronnie asked. "Well, I've done some digging. I found a place about an hour from here that does male-to-female makeovers," Jason explained. "What do they do?" Ronnie asked. "They say that they can take my ugly male face and make it a pretty female face. Or, at least they claim they can. And then do a wig fitting and style it to my face. If the before and after pictures they have on the web are true, they do a good job," Jason said. "Can I see?" "And, you're not ugly," Ronnie protested. "Come on. I'll show you," Jason said. They spent some time looking at the webpage of the boutique and talking about the various looks they saw. "Well," Jason asked, "if they can really take some of those guys and make them look as feminine as they did, you should be a snap," Ronnie said. "You think so?" Jason asked. "I know so. In fact, I think I could even do it, Ronnie replied. But, wouldn't it be fun to see how someone that has done guys before would do it? We might learn something, Jason suggested. Maybe. When do you want to do it? Ronnie asked. Tomorrow, Jason replied. Tomorrow. Can you get in that quickly? Ronnie asked. Already have, Jason said. What? Ronnie exclaimed. I got brave. Called them earlier this week and made an appointment, Jason explained. Oh, Ronnie said, with a pretend stern look, you were that sure that I'd go along with it. Were you? I figured that you just might, Jason replied. Boy. You can read me like a book. Can't you? She said, and then kissed him. Sometimes, yes. Sometime, no. And, sometime when I do, I wish I hadn't, Jason replied. She punched him in the arm. He grabbed her and kissed her. She kissed him back, then asked, what time tomorrow, and is there anything that we need to do before? Well, I have to shave as close as possible. And, if I want to dress afterwards, I can either bring my own stuff or rent theirs, Jason replied. I think you should take the black dress, Ronnie suggested. I was thinking of that, Jason said. But. Ronnie started. But, what? Jason asked. Shoes. You need a pair of shoes to go with it, Ronnie said. Oh God. She wants to go shopping, Jason joked. You know it, lover, Ronnie replied. A little while later, they were back home with 2 new pairs of shoes for him, a pair of black pumps with 3-inch heels and a pair of wedge sandals that Ronnie had fallen in love with. They had also picked up a few pairs of black nylons. And, after a stop at the local drugstore, they had more of those pink bottles. When Ronnie had a minute alone, she made a phone call. On Saturday morning, after cleaning up the breakfast dishes, Ronnie said, All right, lover. We got things to do. All I have to do is shave, Jason replied. She put her hands on her hips, looked at him, and said, If you think you're putting nylons on those hairy legs. Oh. The pink bottles, Jason realized. Yep. Let's go, Ronnie said. They headed to the bathroom, he undressed, and she handed him the thong. Then she said, Lift your arms. He lifted his arms, and she just shook her head. What? Jason asked. Hairy underarms. It's got to go, Ronnie said. No, Jason protested. Why not? Ronnie asked. Because. Ah. Jason started, trying to find a reason. Can't think of a reason. Can you? Ronnie asked. No, Jason said. In fact, she said with a grin. What? Jason exclaimed. I think we need to do a complete job, she replied. Later, as Jason was carefully shaving his face, he was mumbling about how strange it felt to be minus all of his body hair, including his arms. Her response was, Will you stop complaining? You look good. Then running her hands over his hairless body, she added, In fact, I kind of like you this way. Keep that up, and we won't make the appointment, Jason joked. After an hour's drive, they pulled into a strip mall and found a parking place close to the changing scene. He sat there looking at the building, trying to get up the nerve to get out of the car. She looked at him and said, Come on. It's no big deal. I know. But, I'm as nervous as the first time I took you out, Jason admitted. Wait. You were nervous when you took me out the first time. Even after all the time we spent together studying, Ronnie said. You bet, Jason replied. Why? Ronnie asked. Later, Jason said. No. Ronnie insisted. Let me get through this first, Jason said. All right. But, you'd better tell me, Ronnie replied. I promise, Jason said. With that, Jason got out of the car, picked up the small suitcase that they had brought, and took the black dress off the hanger loop in the car. And, carrying his things, the two headed toward the shop. As they walked through the door, they were greeted by a woman wearing a name tag that said, Amber. Amber greeted them with, "Hello. Can I help you?" "Ah. Yes. I'm Jason, and I have a 3 o'clock appointment," Jason replied. "Yes. Let's see," she said, looking at an appointment book. "You're booked for a complete makeover. And I see you brought your things with you. Good. Linda will be doing your makeover, and I'll tell her you're here. Have a look around, and I'll be right back." "Thanks," Jason said. Jason and Ronnie wandered around the shop and looked at a large selection of clothes, underwear, wigs, jewelry, and other things, mostly in larger sizes. A couple of minutes later, Amber and another girl returned. And Amber introduced Linda to Jason, and Jason introduced Ronnie to both of the girls. Linda said, "Come on back, and we'll get started." Linda showed Jason to a changing room, told him to change into whatever underwear that he had brought, and come back out when he was done. Ronnie went in with him to help him change and especially tighten up the waist cincher. When he had changed, he was wearing the white satin bra with the forms, the thong, the waist cincher, black nylons, and the black pumps. He just stood at the door to the changing room. Ronnie asked, "Nervous?" "Yeah. She'll be only the second person to see me like this," Jason replied. "She's seen it all before," Ronnie said. "You're right," Jason said, and he walked through the door, followed by Ronnie. Linda was waiting for them and looked at him with a little smile. She walked around him, studied his face, and said, "Have a seat, and we'll get started." Jason sat in the beauty shop style chair. Linda adjusted it a bit and said, "Jason, you are going to be easy." "Easy?" Jason asked. "To start with, you are small-boned, and your face reflects this. Most girls that come in for a makeover have a typical male face, and it takes a lot of makeup to accomplish a feminine look. But, with you, your facial structure is almost female. First thing I'd like to do is take a couple of before photos. No one will see them unless you okay it," Linda explained. Jason looked at Ronnie, who gave him a why not kind of look. Then Jason said, "As long as no one will see them." Linda took a couple of headshots, then said, "Good. Now, I'd like to start with a lip plumper. It will tingle a bit, but your lips will be fuller. I like to give it some time to work before putting on lipstick, and I may even use a second coat." After she had applied the lip plumper, she studied his face a little more. Then she picked up a wig cap off the counter and said, "This is a wig cap. It will hold your hair, allow me to pin the wig to it, and also use a little tape to give your eyebrows an arch. And we're going for a sophisticated evening look. Right?" Jason nodded his head yes. She placed the wig cap on his head and carefully tucked his hair under it. Then she took a couple of pieces of tape and arched his eyebrows. Running the tape from just above where she wanted the arch of the brow to be, over the top of the wig cap. Again, she stood back and studied his face. Then she asked, "Can I work on your eyebrows a little? Just to clean them up?" Again, Jason looked at Ronnie. Ronnie nodded yes. And Jason said, "All right. I guess. I promise nothing too drastic. I just want to clean them up a bit," Linda reassured him. That's all for now. See you in the next video. For more interesting stories, please subscribe to our channel, and for exclusive content, please join us on Patreon. Link in the comment.